breathing the cold. She's almost here. There's heaven in the static, ghosts in the glow. I saw my reflection in a world they don't know. Shards of a memory, still wet with desire. I dance through the embers of my own funeral pyre, and the signal's broken, but the silence divine. I build my own temple out of lost time. There's heaven in static, a pulse in the glows, where the sacred gets savage and the quiet gets destroyed. I fell into echoes where the shattered belong. I bled out in light just to sing my song. I kiss the machine with a human ache. Downloaded my sorrow for the algorithms to break. Glitch in my halo, dust in my crown. Still I rise from the wreckage, wired to the ground. There's grace in the voltage and truth in the hum. Even exile is holy when you don't run. There's heaven in static, a pulse in the noise, where the sacred gets savage and the quiet destroys. I fell into echoes where the shattered belong. I bled out in light just to sing my song. Maybe I was never meant to be decoded. Maybe I was the glitch all along. But the glitch is the gateway, the flicker that frees. And I will not shrink to be seen. I came to be fed. There's heaven in static and ghosts in the glow. I saw my reflection
There we go. There we go. Hello and welcome to EnJen to Heart. My name is Jenlyn UNBN, and I'm just super excited to be here with each of you today. It is my birthday. This is 47. I've been making myself a year older all year, so it'll be interesting to see how I go through. And typically, that's kind of how it happens. Instead of saying, okay, now this is how old I am with the year, I'll immediately start saying, well, I'm 48, even though I won't be for another year. Does anybody else out there do that? Like, how do you talk about your birthday? How do you age yourself, right? And are you also like me, where you have to start counting on fingers and toes? I have to I'm pretty good about knowing what age I'm at, where I'm at. But to remember if I'm turning an odd number or a even number, I go back. Is it an even year or an odd year? Between because I'm an even year that I was born, so even numbers, even numbers. And then my son and is the opposite in the odd years, right? So I kind of keep track that way. Complicated math, but it all makes sense in my own head, in my own life. So welcome in. I want to talk today about something that I do all the time, and that is change. That is grow and transform and be a shapeshifter and evolve. And so that's what I want to talk about with you guys today. This will be the very last. I can't say forever because one never knows, but it certainly feels like that it will be the very last episode of EnJen to Heart. And the reason why is because I am really not changing what it is that I do, but it is evolving. And so many of you all may know that each year I give myself a really a year goal. So this year that goal was to write my memoir, which is The Long Doorway, which is complete and will be available on September 25th. Yay! So that was last year's goal. That was my goal for 46. And so there's a need and a desire for me in my life to up the ante, if you will. And so this year, that is already began happening. And many of you know, and some of you don't, but that is Sing Your Song. So we're making um, well, we're turning how movies are made upside down. We're turning the script on that. We're flipping that. We're flipping how they're made. We're flipping bringing community and audience in from the very beginning instead of at the very end. And we're changing how distribution happens. So for all of that in this next year, the goal is 1 million people to become a part of bringing that to life, filming and having the premiere, right? And so that's a lot for a year, and I have no doubt that it can happen, especially with wonderful, beautiful people like yourselves. Welcome in, Leslie, and thank you so much for the birthday wishes. I love birthdays. I'm so excited when I reach them because there's been so many times that um, there have just been so many times that have tried to take me away from being able to reach these numbers. So I'm always very, very, very grateful. And I'm very grateful for you all. I've had the most wonderful wishes and messages and reach outs. And it's just been incredible. And I love you all so much. And I'm so very grateful for the last year and so grateful for the year that's coming in, what 47 is going to bring. So, not really changing a lot about what I'm doing, just changing how I'm doing it, who I'm doing it with, and those sorts of things, right? So, Jenlyn stays Jenlyn. UNBN is going to stay UNBN. So, I'm going to stay Genlin UNBN, but UNBN's gonna change, right? And it always kind of has. That's the evolution part of evolving purposely. So UNBN is just going to change what it is that it stands for, and you'll find out more about that. To find out more about that, to find out more about SYS, Sing Your Song, what we're doing and how we're doing it, and how you can be a part of that 1 million, you guys come see us on next Saturday, September 13th, because we're going to have an event. And we are going to have we're going to have some live entertainment. We're going to have a lot of fun, but you're also going to leave understanding what the project's all about. So super excited for that. And okay. So evolving and or just changing, that we want to change something in our lives, or when we want to bring a new habit into our lives, there's a process that we talk about in a lot of different ways, and that's really ritual and ceremony is really what it is. And today we call it development, today we call it habit stacking, today we call it integration between the third dimension, the fifth dimension. We call it working outside of causality. We call it a lot of things, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I use the structure of what is known as ceremony and ritual, which is just something that we repeat and repetitively do to change, and let go of the things that are no longer, you know, a lot of people say what's not serving you. And I hate that. I hate that line, because there is nothing that's not serving you. It's all serving you. However, it may have run its course. It may be time to release that. And that's our responsibility. And when we don't do that, things become toxic, right? So something that even was really good and was a huge blessing, and it was moving things forward in your life, if you holding on to it too long, it becomes toxic. It becomes poisonous. So that could be a person, a habit, and some way that you're doing something. It could be a belief system. It can be all sorts of things, right? And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've learned, how I use it. And some of you all know I've talked about a little bit about this, like just, on a daily basis. I get up every single morning. I don't just apply makeup to apply it, and put clothes on to put clothes on. Everything that I do at this point in my life is very intentional, and does fold out in this very intentional, symbolic way. Because when we can do things right, we know our body, our brain, our head, it loves to do things the same, but we also have to adapt. Oh my gosh, we have to adapt. Yesterday I was in the doctor's office, and I see it all the time. And I know that there are areas in my own life, of course, that I'm blind to. I'm blinded by the light, right? That where I'm like not being adaptable. But as much as possible, I try to go forward and I try to be adaptable. And yesterday in the doctor's office, it was my pain management. And so there are forms that you have to fill out every single time. It doesn't matter if you came in the day before, because of the need to totally went. I know what I'm talking. I didn't go blank on what I was talking about this time. I just went blank on the word. To record, right? Everything that's happening. So with pain management, especially, the rules around that sometimes get really, really, really tight and cracked down on, because we have things that happen, such as the opioid crisis with fentanyl, and which is a very real thing. So there are these things that are set up on the counter. They're tablets, right? You can use your hand. You can use their. They do have a little keypad, available. You can use a stylus pen. There's a different ways that you can use it to be able to enter in your information. And not only that, but it's emailed to you multiple times in between your one visit and the next, right? And so you can fill it out on your computer too. And they were both older, and very loud and very opinionated about how much more difficult it was, and I just missed the days where you could just do it on the paper. Right. And in my to myself, and when we left, to my wife, I'm like, stay adaptable. We have to stay adaptable. um we have to stay adaptable, right? Is it a pain in the rear end? Of course. But at the same time, there was plenty of ample opportunities to do it in another way if you didn't want to have to do it with the systems that were available to you there. And beyond that, those systems do so much. They save a lot of trees, right? Just for one thing. So, just lots of areas and different ways that we want to stay adaptable as we're moving through, um, because it keeps us young. It keeps us young. Like, we, even in fantasy, the fountain of youth, I know, is made up of certain things. Curiosity is one of them, play is another, and adaptability is certainly in that mix of oxygen that's needed to stay young. Welcome in, Carrie, and welcome in, Nick, and thank you both so much for the birthday wishes. Thank you so much for just the wishes, your love, your friendship, your presence, and for being here. So thank you so much for that. So every single day, every single morning when I get up, and I get up at 4 a.m., no later than most of the time now these days, I seem to be up around 2. Um, and I can't go out in the sunlight, right? I haven't been able to for a couple decades. So I go out in the dark instead. And I love to do that, though, every morning between when the earth is waking back up, really, in a way. The birds start singing, um, things start coming to life. Um, the nocturnal animals, they start scurrying into bed, and the day animals start scurrying up, and there's just this real moment of solitude and peace, and being able to really just sit and be and observe, and just enjoy the stillness and also the movement of life. And so I do that every morning, and when I'm in that space, I get all kinds of ideas. I have all kinds of thoughts, right? Downloads, a lot of people call that, visions. Some people might say, I hear, I see, maybe I get a message and a taste, maybe it's in a sound, right? It's all these different ways. And I get a general idea of not what it is that I want to do. Um, I don't dream up the transformation. The transformation, um, the colors, the textures, the feel communicate with me. And then I embody them and I bring it to life right? And I know that that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but I know to a lot of you it does. And so it's just like knowing that, oh, I have had this story come, and this is the way that I'm going to tell that story. So then a lot of times there are steps, right? You want to start with a clean face, right? So in our life, when we have something that we're wanting to let go, we have to start with also a cleansing, if you will. And that's when we're going to set in that reflective time. We're going to set in our body. What are we feeling in it? What are our thoughts? What are our belief systems? What are the emotions? What are all of those things that are coming up? And we're going to sit with that with curiosity and compassion. And then we're going to start taking a few steps, right? One of those is feeling the emotions through. So if there are one emotion that's leading to another, whether it's anger leading to rage and or acceptance, moving into joy or moving into a different emotion, we're going to do that. So we do that in our minds in a lot of ways, but we can also pull and use our body in the process. Like all of us, all of ourselves need to be in the process. When we pull all of ourselves in the process, we have much more better rate of having success in what it is that we're trying to change, or the new habit that we're trying to stack into our lives, and those kinds of things. So there are um, really okay. Let me just stop skipping around, and I'm just going to start talking about it straight from sacred ceremony. It has been practiced since before time was ever even recorded. There's evidence of it on the cave walls all across the globe. Natives, Aboriginals, almost every country, right, has had some. Every culture, I'm sorry, has signs and have practiced some form of a sacred practice. So, and that's because when a human being begins a journey, ceremony can add an outlet for communication with the deepest parts of ourselves, right? So it opens up a vortex of energy that allows connection between ourselves and all the multi-layered parts of ourselves, and into the limitlessness of creation. And it opens up a vortex for that connection so that real lasting transformation can occur. That's why it's so important and so sacred to our bodies. And we do it without even knowing that we're doing it, right? So we can use ceremony to heal physical, emotional wounds. We can use it to act as an antenna, to magnetize. We can also tap in like a little antenna to tap in and fill into things, travel across dimensions and converse with our ancestors. We can give and receive information in different ways and in all the ways that we have access to. We can use it to honor important life passages, like a birthday, like a new goal, a new thought process, a new habit, right? You do this for your future self. You can use it to celebrate the seasonal cycles, to frame just a single moment in time. Like there's no limit to how you can deploy this work into your life. So there are 5 main phases and main components to creating a space for yourself of intentionality to be able to move something forward, backwards, pause time, move into the past, move into the future, and do those things without causing harm to yourself, to your memories, to your inner child, right? Or any of those different things. And one of those is that you bring a gift, right? And we all do this naturally every single day. We want to make every space that we go into be better than when we found it. We want to raise the energy. We want people to know that they're loved. If they need something and we can help give them that, we want to do that. In Native American cultures, especially in the Hopi tribal traditions, that is called Aini, which is Ainy, is how that's spelled. And it's an offering of your heart. It's a promise as you're entering a space that you are not going to take more from it than you are able to give back, and or at the same time you're really entering into that space understanding the laws of reciprocity, and that there are going to be times when you enter into this space where you need to receive, but what you're receiving is what you have already put in, right? If that makes sense. It's like a bank account, if you will. And this is that space where you can come in, and if you need to take it all, you can do that because you've deposited it for yourself prior, and then you come back and you deposit and you deposit and you deposit, and you're not depositing necessarily in just this space. Every day as you're walking through and you're doing things for others, you are making these deposits, right? Where when we're doing something, this is not, when we do things in life, it's for the other person, but it's also, it's for ourselves, because there's no separation. Each other, we are just a mirror for each other to be able to speak to be able to learn from, to be able to see, and to be able to have those exchanges. So that's the first part. And what you see in religion is going through and burning incense, burning candles, having leaving out water or fruits for the gods and the goddesses, all of those things, tobacco, corn, wheat, all of those things are a form of Aini. And I want to say, when we're talking about like these spiritual spaces and using these kinds of tools, a lot of people use they think of sage and as warding away like evil spirits. And what I'm going to say about that is that molecularly, it moves the eons in the space that you're in, and it does make the air, the space is literally lighter because it moves out negatively charged ions that are in the air. If you do that as a practice before you pray or going through a space that doesn't feel good to you, and you've never done it in this way, I just want to encourage you to try this. Instead of using it in a way where you're telling things to move away or get out and you're not welcome here and those kinds of things, try doing it as a gift of love, right? When we bring something into a space that is a gift of love, we don't have to understand what it is that it's doing or where it's going to go. We just have to be able to say, this is the gift. This is not a gift of me trying to push something away or out from me. This is a gift of love, saying that I recognize myself here. I recognize myself in you here. And I'm just going to allow this to be. I want this. I want to burn this because it smells good. I want to burn this because it's sweet and it's smoky and it's something that's delicious to me that I want to share with you, not because I'm trying to use something that's foul to chase you or push you away, right? Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. I'll get out of this. I'll get off my soapbox on that, and so that we can keep going. The second part is intention, right? So intention sets the stage for what it is that we're doing, right? Like, why are we in this space? Why are we intentionally going into the space of understanding that it is a place of manifestation and creation and co-creation and co-resonance? Why are we here? Right. So when we hear things like we are gathered here today, that is that part, and that's why those things are said, so that you can say what your intention is. So to the best of your ability, be clear about the message, that because your intention, the clearer you are, the clearer that the message that you are sending to the universe, to your subconscious mind, to the parts of your body, and to others, what your objective is. All right. So, especially when it's well thought out, and when we write it out, when we talk about it, when we give it as much of a body itself as possible, right? So when we write it down, we do that. We give it a shape, we give it a color, we give it a sound, we give it an energy, right? We give it an emotion, and we bring it into this space of actual embodiment, not just energy, but into matter, which is what we magical humans get to do. And that's what sets us apart from the rest of, it's what makes us unique. We can do this in this way. So, intention becomes the broadcast that you're sending to the universe, to yourself and to others, and it does act like a magnet in your path. So when you have an intention, that serves as the content for what it is that you're doing and why you're there. So my intention every day is to become what allows myself and the people that I'm going to come into contact with every single day for the day to receive what it is that they need, right? Love, acceptance, somebody to talk to and move through the things that are bothering them, right? Those are the kinds of things. And when I start my day, that's how I do that. So then once you have that intention, which is the content, you're going to create a little bit of space. You're going to create an energetic container, a vortex of energy around you. And there are all kinds of ways that you can do that. But the way that I use a lot is based on Native American. It's also based on a Hopi tradition, and it is called a medicine wheel. And there are different things that entails. So it entails calling in the ancestors. It entails knowing that there is an energetic vortex that has a real gate. It has a gate, it has an entrance, and has a way to move around it. And so studying that, understanding what that means. But for you, if you don't know those things, it doesn't matter. I'm here. You just start calling in, per se, like, you just allow yourself to know that Maybe you feel like you need a feather in that moment and you have one. So go get that feather and bring it, right? If you believe in angels, you call them. If you believe in the earth being an entity, speak to her. If you believe in gods and goddesses and the stars and all of those things, you just start speaking to all those different elements and they expand you, right? They come in with you and it creates a bigger space of oneness. And then you begin to share what it is that it is, what you're wanting to do this. So when you're doing this, you're in this space of co-creating between energy and matter, and there is a really a magical moment that happens when you marry all of this together, and that is that you begin to not just think it, you begin to feel it really intensely sometimes, but you begin to feel it. You can feel it in your chests, you can feel it in your legs and your knees and your back. It's a gurgle in your stomach because you've been carrying something around with you for a long time. There's energies, right? They get stuck, they need to be moved, they don't get moved. And so this is the space that we can do all that. So like if you want to say that you're just starting a new intention for yourself, you draw a line, use a string, put a string across the floor and walk across the threshold of this is the old and I am walking into this new thing. This is what this new thing is asking of me that I understand. This is what over here on this side of this line, this is what I no longer need, right? So I'm going to leave those things that I no longer need, including people, places, things, feelings, emotions, thoughts, belief systems, all that. As much as I can, I'm going to lighten myself because I'm stepping into a new journey. So the bag I've got, the wagon I've got, the supplies I've got, they are changing and they need to be changed. And you can do that in this space. The more physically that you bring that in, right? So this is not just imagination. This is bringing things into embodiment. So if you know that you need to, leave some emotions behind, and in this space, you don't need it here, but you're going to leave it here. Like maybe you've been carrying around self-doubt in your life. Get a brick, get a rock, get something, and it'll let you know if you ask, that represents that. Hold it, feel it, have a conversation with yourself. This is allowing every part of you to connect with what it is that exists, that's outside of causality, that you know is there but you can't see. Give it something so that you can see it. Love it, thank it, be grateful for it. Then leave it. And then step over that line, right? Stepping over a threshold into something that's new. And when we do that, we're using every single system that we have to really move everything in every way. So we're moving energy, we're moving emotions, we're moving thoughts, we're moving feelings. One of my great friends, April Wyatt, says, right, we have this intention, and then we have to give it attention. This is how you do that. This is how you give your intention attention. This is how you fold and collapse time. So instead of it taking you 6 years to do something, You can do it in 6 minutes. You can do it in 6 seconds. You can do it in 6 breaths. You can do it in one. You can do it in the snap of a finger when this is something that you begin practicing all the time, right? And we're doing this. You're already doing it. You're just not doing it cognitively. This does that. And when we do it cognitively, it shuts off and moves around the different parts of our brain so that those very literal synapses, neuron synapses, can be built and then start building those new highways. And then when we give it our attention, our intention, and we walk it through and we move it through our bodies, it becomes much easier to do that new thing, right? This is so I was catching up, of course, on the comments, and yes, Krishna consciousness, absolutely, and the law of rhythm and karma. So one thing that I did years ago for myself was actually, we joke a lot about, or I used to, karma is only a bitch if you are, right? Karma is only a bitch if you are. So if you've got bad karma, quote unquote, happening and cycling and circling in your life, that's all you, baby. That's all you. So one of the things that these processes will help you do is identify why. What is it in your generationally that you're carrying? What are the imprints that you're carrying, right? Like we are walking, talking energetic magnets. And so when what is happening in our lives is because of the magnets that are in our fields, right? So that's why a lot of times when we have something happen to us, good or bad, it'll happen not just once, but twice, 3 times, 4 times, even if it's something really awful that most people never experience in a single lifetime, and you've experienced it in several times in your lifetime. Like that is a message that is screaming at you to stop and pay attention. It's like your best friend's banging on the door, but because it doesn't feel good, because we don't like it, we don't understand, we don't work it all the way through in that way. And so it keeps having to come back, right? So we hear a lot, as above, so below, as within, so without. And as above is here. It's the mind, it's the brain. Below is the body. It's also what we are experiencing in our lives. And so that's all karma. So one thing that we can also do is move ourselves from karma to dharma, right? Dharma is a space of it's like when you have different dimensions, right? Different dimensions, different levels of things. Dharma doesn't carry karma. It's a different lineage of this takes you from fate, where things are happening to you, to destiny, where things are happening for you. From this is the outside world doing all of this to me and I can do nothing about it, to being able to put the I in it so that that actually gives you the power to do something about it, and it gives you the power to change it. And so all of this that I'm talking about today helps you do all of those things. About 7 years, 8 years ago now, I really delved deeply into all of this, and there's no way I could talk about all of it or the real experience of it. But I do want to throw in this, a lot of times we walk through life and we feel like we have this hole within us, that we're incomplete. And a lot of times that I'm sure most of us have heard of these days of shadow work and the inner child and things like soul retrieval and things like that. And I had an experience that, first of all, I spent 3 years every single day, very intently doing what we all call and say is the work, doing the work. Why is this happening to me? Being able to identify, not only identify all the things that were happening in my life as a message, but falling in love with that message. Now, even though it may have brought me pain, even though it might have brought me destruction, even though it's the things that most of the world says doesn't have to be loved, and we certainly don't, because we don't understand at first how to do that, right? So you do all this deep work, and I did have an experience that I um, had, I'm just going to say it this way, billions of particles of light that had sound, color, taste, all of these things that I was missing in my life, and all these things that were missing from me, like return to me, which sounds crazy. I don't care what it sounds like to anybody else. It changed my life, and it's why I'm here today. It's why, despite the fact that I have 9 autoimmune diseases, despite the fact that I'm only 47 years old, but my body technically is about 87. And they test that through your flexibility, through your joints. They test that shit. That's how old my body is. Okay. This is how and why. This is the real reason I'm able to grow, change, adapt, have the resilience that I have to do what I do every day, no matter what. Just had back surgery, doesn't matter. My body can heal while I still show up. COVID, I've had it 6 times, doesn't matter. I can still let my body heal and I can still show up, right? And so showing up is different ways, but this understanding of how the universe works, and then the absolute understanding, zero understanding of how it all works. But just showing up and saying, okay, universe, this is what I know to do, so I'm going to do it. And this is what I don't know to do, so I'm just going to be still and let you show me. And then learn, live, be, do all of the things, right? Every single day. And I can do it now in a second. And so can you in a breath. That's why I'm always talking about the breath, because it's so important. Our breath is so important. And our body is a vessel, and it knows what to do. And so you just got to get out of the way and let it do what it is that it needs to do. And that doesn't always mean that it's something that you can control or tell it to do. If you get still enough and quiet enough and look and listen enough, you will understand that everything, all the people, all the circumstances, everything is a message and a messenger. And if you're getting those messages and understanding that, and you just haven't known what to do with it, now you know. Now you know. Create this kind of space for yourself. Okay. Show up. When you do, in your brain will create new synapses, new neurons, a new little electromagnetic highway, right? So, um, our electromagnetic body is a body that we don't talk about a lot. But our electromagnetic body is our brain, our heart, and our gut. So that's physically. So when we take a breath, use our brain to communicate, let our body communicate to our brain, right? That it's safe or that it's not, whatever it may be. When we let that communicate, but let's say that we're talking about wanting to reiterate the sense of safety in our lives. When we get still, when we breathe in a moment of safety, and we let our body knows what that feels like, and we use our breath to do it, it stops sending out the stress hormones and chemicals. It starts sending out the, okay, we're safe, right? That starts changing. Then your literal heart rate changes with it. So does your gut. So when we can take a breath in and exhale, tell our physical mind, our conscious mind, we are safe, I'm safe, use a mantra while you use your breath in through your nose and exhale out through your mouth. It will communicate to your body that it's safe. And then while we're doing that, take a drink of water. And it lets our gut know that we're safe. And it gives our gut what it needs to hydrate us and to hydrate the cells and start moving things around, carrying this signal of safety. And you can practice this to the point that even when you're not safe, you can use this to keep yourself sane, to keep yourself in a place of being able to make decisions that are responsive and not reactive. When we hear things like between stimulus and response, there is a place. Viktor Frankl, this is the shit that he is talking about. This is the mastery that he experienced and that he understood to utilize. And it is what got him through concentration camps, and it is what got him through the rest of his life and everything that it is that he went through, because he understood this thing. And so the more we utilize these things and the more we do it on purpose and intentfully and purposely, the less sabotage we will experience, because these are the life lessons. These are life lessons that and growth muscles that we must work through and that we must learn. And when we do them purposefully and intentfully, then we don't get sabotaged by shit. Right? Those old Jack in the Box things that like to come up and sabotage you. Not here. Not anymore. Right? Like, it doesn't mean that that won't. It just doesn't happen in the ways that it used to. And it'll happen less. It'll happen less, right? This is not a magical thing. It is magical, but it's not magic. It is constant work. It is constant work. It is constant grounding. It is refusing to let yourself turn around, walk away, ignore things, right? Like this is the epiphany of consciousness. But it's a beautiful epiphany of consciousness and allows all those other things to fall away. All those addictions that you have, they'll fall away. So when we bring all of this also into our business, it changes everything. When we see our business and those things outside of ourselves that we're creating as also being sentient, then we understand what its needs are, who's carrying those needs, how it's going to express those needs, what it feels like, what it sounds like, tastes like, looks like, what are the subtleties, right? You will understand all of those things through these processes in a deeper way than any course could ever teach you, because you're going through it, right? And when we ask somebody what our needs are, what's your need, right? You're going to tell me, and or I'm going to learn or know. Those changes everything about what it is that we're doing, and it makes everything so much easier to understand. And it brings so much more being in your doing, rather than just doing and doing and doing and doing and spinning your wheels and being like a hamster on a hamster wheel, and you got calluses and you got like uh, carpet burns on your knees because you keep falling off the treadmill, right? You keep falling off and burning yourself and slamming your head into the wall because everything that you're doing is not working right. If you're experiencing that, which somebody is, because that's coming through really strong right now, whether you're here right now or whether you're on replay later, right? Stay tuned, because the stories that we tell ourselves, the stories that we live, the stories that we create are all about all of these needs, understanding what they are, and being able to understand the oneness of things, when we need it, when we don't, right? It's not always serving to believe that. Sometimes you have to put that little belief in a little pocket for a minute. You got to bring out another one, right? So to be able to do those things like this, at least for me, help a ton. And at the end of the day, right, life and everything that we experience is just a effing story. It's just a story. Don't like the story? Change the story. If you've been waiting to know how to change that story, all of this is how, right? So follow me along. Follow me. I'm not going anywhere, just changing. So what I say ultimately is going to stay the same. What I'm talking about changes from one company to another. Still about story. It's still about presence. It's still about humanity. It's still about community. It's still about everything. Just like I physically change every single day, and it doesn't change who it is that I am or how I show up, that's exactly what is happening right here, just in a different channel, from EnJen to H.E.A.R.T to Parlor 10, which some of you already know. And that channel is alive. If you have questions, come. And then, like I said, September 13th, which is next Saturday, come and you'll learn about all of it and what all the changes are, right? And thank you all very much for all the times that you have showed up for me, and that you've showed up for EnJen to H.E.A.R.T, even when you didn't know what the hell I was talking about, or I was blabbering on, or whatever it may have been. Your presence and participation in my life is done with intention, and that's sacred to me. That is ceremony. When you show up to show up and support, even while you're cooking, even while you're sick, even when you don't feel like it, all of those things. So thank you for that. I do invite you, and I hope that you will follow me and do the same thing for Parlor 10, and some of the other great things that I'll be doing. And thank you so much for, especially today, being here with me on my birthday and listening while I share just a few of the things that I utilize in my own life to continuously be moved forward in an effortless way. I love you all so much, and we'll see you around this week. And hopefully, we'll see you in person or on Zoom person on Saturday, September the 13th. Okay, go to my page. If you have any questions, reach out to me. See you all. Bye.